Okay, hello, Maddie here. Thank you so much for coming back for another video. Y'all are gonna be shocked and then not at all shocked. So this week I am talking about Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Brosh. Now, I do not have a physical book to show you. Not because I haven't owned this book, but because I have owned many copies and then given them away. It's such a great book. I love it so much. It's one of my books I tried to keep on hand, and I've just given away too many that I don't own any anymore. So I don't have a physical book to show for you, but I will, in at least the thumbnail, there will be a picture of the book itself. Sorry. But we're talking about Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Brosh. This does have an accompanying blog if you want to check that out. I will link it down below. I wanted to talk about this book, not because I'm like over fiction, because I'm still like listening to fiction and such, but I kind of just wanted to talk about, I don't know, real life a little bit. And this book will give you like 2%, the 2% I need to talk about just like life. This book, it's like 400 pages. It is essentially a comic book. It is full of pictures and some text. It's a comic book. It does not even take that long to read. It's 400 pages. You can read it in like an hour maybe. It's super duper short in terms of like density of content, which is great because then you can give it to somebody and they're like, oh no, I can never read a book that big. And then you're like, it's all pictures and it's great, which I just find really funny. But it's a great book. It's Allie Brosh. It is stories about her life. So it does stories from both her childhood and adulthood. I would say it's more childhood than adulthood. At least the stories that stick with you are more childhood because she tells the most outrageous stories. The most outrageous stories. Like crying, laughing, outrageous stories. And I say to anybody I recommend this book to or give this book to, I always say everybody comes out with a favorite story, favorite anecdote, whatever. Personally, mine has to do with the dogs, which is the simple dog and the helper dog. When they move, oh, it's so funny. So funny. Evan's favorite story is the parrot story. And that one, we'll summarize it real quick for you. Just to give you an idea of what these stories are about. So her and her sister, she might have had a brother, but I think she just has a sister. I know for sure she has a little sister. They were given a parrot, a toy parrot for Christmas, birthday, something. And it was a parrot in that you could like, click a button and it would record, 3, 5, 10 seconds of sound and then repeat it back. And they discovered that they could record, say, the vacuum cleaner or the garbage disposal, hide in their parents' closet, and then play it randomly. Or call them at work and just play this noise. And so the parrot magically just stopped working one day. And they were like super bummed about it. And, a family friend or relative or whatever came over and fixed the parrot. And the parents were just so grateful that they fixed this broken parrot. So that's Evan's favorite story. And she obviously tells it way better. I'm not a storyteller. Like, I never have been. So my sister Hannah, I think she's an amazing storyteller. Some of her stories are just like, she's just does such a good job of like, kind of reeling you in, but not being like overinflated in like details. It's like just enough to keep you hooked and want to keep listening to what she's saying. I'm not that good at doing that. Not gonna lie. Like, I'm just not. I can talk to you about things, but in terms of like a storyteller, that's just not my gift. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what these stories are, because she also has stories about the dentist and cake, going on a hike. There's one I think about like a duck or a goose or something. Anyways, there's lots of absolutely hilarious stories. Like I said, you will be crying, laughing. It's fantastic. The first time I read this book was when I was working at the dealership. So it was probably 2019, maybe 2020. I was working at the car dealership as a receptionist. And it was a great first job out of college because The only requirement of me was to answer phones and then forward them to whatever department they needed. I didn't actually do anything. I would answer there were some questions I could answer very minimally, but like I didn't do much of anything. It was awesome. And that's the year that I read 100 books in a year. But I read this book, Hyperbole and a Half, for the first time while I was a receptionist. And I literally remember, like, when I laugh really hard, I do that thing where I kick off with my feet and rock. It's caused some issues. I've fallen out of chairs and such because of this, but it's a thing that I do. And so I'm sitting there literally rocking, crying, laughing in a dealership, which if you've been inside a dealership, it echoes and is so loud, like crazy. And I'm just sitting here dying laughing and nobody says a word. Nobody says a word. They're just like, yeah, that's Maddie, crazy receptionist. It was fantastic. I thought it made it even funnier, in my opinion. But also what is so great about this book, the 2% that I also wanted to talk about, was that she talks about very real life personal struggles. She talks about her struggles with motivation, just to literally get laundry done, to feed herself, to move from point A to point B. She talks about, intrusive thoughts. Her inner dialogue can be super belittling, and that can feed into not having any motivation. My cats are having like a WWE fight over here. So if you start hearing meowing, I don't know if you can hear Hinata's tail whipping on the floor. Are they gonna? Okay, I think it's ended peacefully. Okay. Anyways, but she talks about these very, very real things and these struggles with real issues in this book. So it is like 70-80% just fantastic, hilarious life stories. And then it is, 20-30%. These are things that I struggle with. This is what makes life hard. And yeah, life is funny and entertaining and wonderful, but it also can be awful and overwhelming and stressful. And I think that's, I don't know, the millennial in me is just like, everything's a millennial issue. And I'm like, I don't even know. But I feel like a lot of millennials deal with these issues of trying to fake being an adult, and we're just getting overwhelmed and we don't even know what to do because we just feel overwhelmed by trying to be an adult. I'm literally 30 years old and I still just feel like I'm failing as an adult. And I know that I'm not, because, I can hold a full-time job. I've got things like benefits. Evan and I own our cars outright. We can afford to pay our mortgage. Like, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of being an adult. But then I just have moments of being like, not being able to feed myself or get to bed on time. And they're so simple, but they're the things that I feel like make it easy to feel like you're failing. And those are some of the things she talks about. And part of why I love it is because she's got these funny stories, these things to hook you in that are genuinely enjoyable and the majority of the book. But she also talks about real life things that if you do not struggle with them, they give you such a great picture into the mind of somebody who is. So you may not struggle with, depression. I don't even want to say anxiety, because anxiety is not quite the right word, but just motivation to get stuff done. You might not struggle to encourage yourself. It's so overwhelming when you already feel overwhelmed, and then your mind is telling you that you should be overwhelmed because you're failing. It makes it just so much better. And so I'm so happy for you if that's not an issue. But if it's not your issue, I am sure there's someone in your life who that is an issue for. And so this can just be such a good glimpse into their mind, into better understand them, and in turn, better understand how to help them, how to love them, how to pick them up and be their motivation if they need you to, kind of kick their butt sometimes and say, you have food in your fridge, just go heat it up. And, just take care of yourself. You can do it. You can push people, I'm going to push you towards bed and take your phone and put it across the room. I'll heat this food up for you. I just need you to come and eat it. That's kind of more of these examples are definitely more spouse-centric or roommate-centric maybe. Somebody who actually lives in your house with you. Maybe a little bit easier than just like a friend or a family that's going to come over. But there's always something you could do to help those that are struggling. I'm very open and honest about all the things in my life. I have depression and anxiety, but it's not like I am depressed all the time. I am anxious all the time. Like, my baseline is just blackness and shakiness. You know, it was right. It was before I was diagnosed and put on medication. Yes, my whole world was gray. Yes, my whole world was a roller coaster because I literally was constantly going up and down in my emotions and I had no stability. But it's like, as a diagnosed, medicated adult, I have moments of depression and moments of anxiety, but they do not color my whole world. And I feel like that's what this book does such a good job of. We have these moments of struggle, but they're not all defining, or they don't have to be. They do not have to be. Because like I said, pre-diagnosis, pre-medication, if I had written a book, it would have just been blackness and like crumpled up paper. But now, yes, there are going to be some black crumpled up pages, but there's not going to be that many of them. I wanted to talk about this book because it just, I don't know, in this moment in time, it feels super relatable because, you know, there are lots of funny, good things, but there's also just having to live in my own mind and body too, you know? So I really hope you read this book because it's fantastic. I hope more than anything, I've got you hooked on the hilarious stories because I love talking to people about her stories because they are so absurd. They're so absurd. And you're just like, this was like a real person's actual experience. And it's so funny. It is so funny and absolutely fantastic. And so I highly recommend it. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And I hope that you read it. Because it is kind of a comic book, you can't do an audiobook, unfortunately, but you can still do ebooks and things like that. Because I currently have it on hold at my library because it's not currently available because people want it and stuff because it's a popular book. And then I also ordered a used copy off of Amazon because I don't know. I like used book. New books are nice and all, but I'm like with my dog earring, I like books with history. Even if I don't know that history, I just like knowing they've been in somebody else's hands and that somebody else has enjoyed this book or at least experienced this book. And I hope that it was enjoyable. So I have a used book on the way, but I obviously didn't get here in time for filming because I am filming almost a week early because we are going on a trip with my in-laws and we will be not in the state the day that I would normally be filming and we will be driving the day I would normally be editing. So I have, luckily in my schedule, I have a buffer day. So if I film now and then my buffer day will be driving, I will still have a day to edit and get this all posted without being too stressed. So we're filming pretty early for this one, but I don't know, life update. Life's been good. I hit a year at my job. Well, actually we're at like a year and a month now at this point. That's super awesome. We're getting ready for the Paul Storm family reunion. It is not till April, but we are getting stuff done. So that's good. I have one of my really, really good friends that I see like once, maybe twice a year coming in March, and I'm really excited for that. I have my church's women's retreat, and I'm really excited about that. Very, very busy schedule, but I would say all good things. Things that I want to be busy with. So that's good and exciting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed my little life update. Wasn't much, but there's not much to tell. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your beginning to 2024 has not been too overwhelming or too anything negative. It's just been, you know, kind of good, starting the year off on the right foot. Hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Drink water, get some sleep, solve lots of life's problems. That and food. Feed yourself if you haven't eaten. But with all of that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great night, a great week, great weekend, great month, great year. I hope you have all the greats because you're truly worthy and deserving of them. So until next time, 再见. Bye. Oh, and like, comment, subscribe. That would be super duper 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 awesome.